Hey everybody, Mr. CEO here from Lone Star Breaking, um, also known as Mike. I'm a huge believer in if you want to do something, you just start doing it, and eventually you'll find your rhythm with it. Um, that's kind of how I started with streaming. That's how I started with Pokemon. That's how I started with sports cards. That's how I started in business and life. Um, so I thought to myself, I want to do some more content um, around um, my Pokemon business, my card business, things like that. But kind of more um, the ethical business practice um, space within our hobby. Um, so I'll start with just a little bit about myself. I am a Pokemon collector and a baseball card collector. I mean, you can see big Cubs fan right there over my shoulder. I grew up watching baseball, playing sports. Sports cards came along with that. And my brother, who's 10 years younger than me, is actually the first person who introduced me to Pokemon and Yu Gi Oh! And things like that, TCG. Um, but I really didn't get deep into it until my now 14-year-old son found it, 8 years ago or so. And I kind of looked back at some of the stuff I amassed with my brother um, and started kind of getting into it a little more. And it took off over the last few years as now my younger son, who's 7, started getting into Pokemon. Um, I decided to start selling after I really kind of amassed a critical mass of cards. Um, and the selling was more or less derived from um, finding ways to put guide rails around my own collecting, around my own hobby. Um, you determine what you love pretty quickly and what is unsellable when things become sellable. Um, Started streaming on Whatnot a handful of months ago after many, many months of watching and learning and talking with some other friends who stream on another platform. Um, and I started thinking about how I could get into the space while still keeping an ethical standard around it. I was really disappointed with what I saw on Whatnot, and the sales tactics that were used on Whatnot. Um, in particular, Whatnot. There's other streaming platforms out there, Fanatics and Drip and eBay Live. There's several. Um, but Whatnot, after watching it, number one, it was the easiest to get started on. So I thought let's start there, and maybe if I don't find an audience or I can't bring myself to sell the way that this audience seems to want to be sold to, um, I just leave and go try another platform. But let's just start streaming on the easiest platform to get into. Uh, I learned real quickly that I didn't want it felt dirty to do what others were doing, pressuring up sales, running fast auctions with low value cards in a way that really felt disingenuous and really were pushing people to bid more and more for things that had really low value. Um, that's not to say market price is the most relevant thing in the world, um, but the app and the people, the buyers, were clearly trained to bid this way and to use Whatnot in a certain way. Um, and I said, you know what? If I'm going to, okay, so I grew up a Chicago Bulls fan. And growing up in Chicago. And so I lived through the Michael Jordan years. And was he great? Absolutely, he was great. But what made him even better was he wanted to beat somebody. He wanted to right wrongs that he perceived. I got started and found my niche on Whatnot because I believed it could be done better. I believed that there was an enemy, and the enemy was the Whatnot selling community that had no respect and has no respect for the Whatnot buying community. And I'll be honest, I've seen both sides of this now as a buyer and a seller, and I think that both sides are to blame. The Whatnot buyer got used to getting screamed at, got used to being treated poorly, got used to being tricked like Pavlovian dogs to a bell response or to a bid response or to a you're not even half or we're a third or I'm getting cooked, that whole thing. And they seem to want to engage in it. The buyer has a responsibility to break the cycle, but I didn't think that they had an outlet that was credible that could break that cycle. The cycle of being bid up, the cycle of being told that something that it's gaslighting. You know that's a $2 card. Here. What do I have here? What do I have sitting next to me? What do I have sitting next to me? I've got a Squawkabilly EX. I'm going to tuck this into somebody's order, probably Sunday night after the stream or Monday morning when I get to packing, and it'll be a freebie. There are channels that will run this and will get $4 or $5 through the use of shill bidders, through the use of bells, and through the use of gaslighting people into think that they're going to miss something. And I couldn't take that anymore. I'm looking over here and I'll actually get it. I came up with stream rules. You can see it right here. Honesty, positivity, no high pressure sales. All sales start at $1. And all cards are near mint unless I talk differently about them. And in thinking about it, I don't even think that they're really rules. It's more or less a bill of rights. I think that buyers and sellers on the app should have a duty to each other to be honest and have a duty to promote positivity and have a duty to, within that honesty, sell products for what they're worth and for what they're worth to the buyers. I don't think that, listen, that Squawkabilly EX that I'm still looking at right there, it's not that it doesn't have value, it does. And so somebody out there, what's great about Pokemon is that somebody out there's favorite Pokemon is Squawkabilly. And who am I to say that they shouldn't outbid somebody for a Squawkabilly card? But presenting it in 3-second sudden death auction while ringing bells and chanting and yelling and screaming really isn't providing that buyer with the right opportunity to buy that card at a price that makes sense. So he said, listen, I'm going to do everything I can to fight that enemy, to just like Michael Jordan would do. And I took that personally. I took that personally because I've been taken advantage of, because I bought things that I shouldn't in that manner. Because I got packages shipped in plain white envelopes without protection, without top loaders. That's why I shameless plug, ship with shell mailers. These things are fantastic for shipping a card in. They cost more. I don't care. That's why I put everything in team bags. That's why I put everything in bubble mailers. This isn't about money for me. I mean, it's like, if I do everything right on my end, streaming 5 hours a week, acquiring Pokemon cards that I need to acquire, so that I can sell them to you in this way where I'm not pressuring up sales, where I'm not driving home that point. This is a break-even enterprise. This is, I make $100 a week, maybe 200 on a great week. And that is not all that relevant income, considering I probably spend 20 hours a week working on it, while working a full-time job. I do it because I love it. I do it because it keeps me invested in the hobby that I love. And I do it because it helps me build relationships with people that I share common interests with and that I truly enjoy as people. I love getting to know the people who come into my streams. I love getting to know them as people, who they are, what they like, what their spouses like, what their girlfriends or boyfriends like. I get to know these people through the purchases they make, through the stories that we tell, through the engagements that we have in the messages and whatnot in the app. I love this community, and I'm here to support the community. I've got a request list. I'm going to spend all weekend at a card show picking up 20 cards, 25 cards for people that come into the streams who I think about a lot, and who I think about they deserve this. They deserve somebody who cares enough about them to go out and think about what it is they want. And I think that I could be that for the community. So you guys are witnessing my first ever glass of wine with Mr. CEO, which I plan on doing just briefly, 15-minute check-ins after each one of my streams, the night after. So I stream generally on Wednesdays and Sundays, so you'll see me on generally Thursdays and Mondays with an upload. General hobby thoughts on the stream that I just had, thoughts on the upcoming stream, which will actually be pretty cool. I picked up a Celebrations Master Set, so I'm going to be running that on Sunday night. All 50 cards in Celebrations plus the promos. So I'm excited about that. We will have our wall as usual, which may include some cards from that Celebration set. There's a few I can think of, but I'll also include others. And that'll be the Sunday, February 1st at 8 p.m. Central Time. Lone Star Breaking on Whatnot. You can also find me on Instagram, Lone Star TCG. Otherwise, I just wanted to start this off. We'll find our rhythm at some point with it. And we'll either find an audience or we won't, and that's okay. What I want to do is share more of who I am, and hopefully that allows me to connect more with who you are. Also, if you happen to be in Dallas-Fort Worth, feel free to message me if you're going to be at the NTX Card Show in Louisville on Saturday or Sunday. I would love to meet up with you there. So from my card room to yours, have a great rest of your week, and I hope to see you guys on Sunday night. Take care.